You ever wonder why humans are the only creatures that laugh? I mean, no other animal does that. You don't see a lion cracking up after missing a zebra. You don't see a pigeon laughing at another pigeon flying into a window. But we do it all the time. We laugh at everything. Tragedy, pain, failure, embarrassment, even death sometimes. It's like some built-in defense mechanism nature gave us to keep us from completely losing it. Because if you really stop and think about how weird it is to exist, to just be here, alive, on this rock, floating through space, you'd probably start screaming. So instead, we laugh. It's our way of saying, okay, yeah, this is insane, but let's pretend it's fine. It's kind of brilliant when you think about it. Laughter is how we trick ourselves into not falling apart. It's this emotional armor we wear without realizing it. Something goes wrong, we laugh. Someone embarrasses themselves, we laugh. We fail miserably at something we cared about, we find a way to turn it into a story and laugh. Because what else can we do? Cry? Sure, that works too. But crying doesn't bring people closer the way laughter does. Crying isolates you, laughter invites people in. It's this shared acknowledgement that, yeah, we're all kind of stumbling through this together. We don't laugh because everything's fine. We laugh because it isn't, and that's the joke. We're all just pretending to have it together. We wear our little human masks and act like we understand how life works, when deep down, nobody does. We're all improvising. Every decision we make is just a guess dressed up as confidence, and that's why humor is survival. It's how we cope with that silent truth. We don't like to look at the fact that life doesn't come with instructions, and no one's getting out alive. You ever notice how the people who've been through the worst stuff usually have the darkest sense of humor? It's not a coincidence. That's not brokenness, it's brilliance. Because once you've faced real pain, everything else becomes material. You stop taking it all so seriously. You stop pretending there's a perfect way to live. You start realizing that life isn't about avoiding pain, it's about surviving it with a little bit of grace and maybe a smirk. When you can laugh at what once hurt you, it means you've taken your power back. You've made the pain small enough to fit inside a joke. That's not avoidance, that's evolution. We laugh to survive ourselves, to keep from drowning in the chaos of our own thoughts. Because being human is exhausting. You wake up every day and immediately start worrying about things that might not even happen. Your brain is like a constant alarm bell, screaming about everything that could go wrong, and the only thing that quiets it, even for a second, is laughter. It's that brief pause where you forget to be scared. That's what makes it so healing. It's not just sound, it's release. And when you think about it, laughter is the most honest reaction we have. It's pure. You can't fake it, not really. You can fake a smile, fake an apology, fake confidence, but you can't fake a real laugh. When something truly hits you, it breaks through all the walls you've built. That's why it feels so good. Because for that 1 second, you're free from judgment, from worry, from pretending. You're just reacting to the absurdity of life in real time. We all know that feeling when something horrible happens. And later, once the dust settles, we start to laugh about it. Not because it wasn't painful, but because it's over. It's like our minds are saying, you made it. You're still here. That's the miracle of laughter. It doesn't erase the pain, but it transforms it. It takes something that could destroy you and turns it into something you can live with, something you can share. Because when you tell that story and make someone else laugh, you've taken what once broke you and turned it into connection. That's power. And maybe that's why we crave humor so much. Not just the kind you find in shows or stand-up or memes, but the kind you find in everyday life. The laughter between friends when everything's going wrong, the nervous chuckle in a serious moment, the giggle you can't hold back even when you're supposed to be serious. That's the stuff that keeps us human. Because no matter how advanced we get, no matter how much technology we build, laughter reminds us we're still just people, fragile, ridiculous, confused people trying to find our way through a world that doesn't make sense. It's strange how laughter always shows up when words fail. When you don't know what to say, you laugh. It's like a universal language for, I don't know how to handle this. Someone falls, someone dies, someone says something awkward, and there it is, that inappropriate giggle. We don't plan it, it just happens. Because laughter isn't polite, it's primal. It's what's left when we've run out of explanations. It's our instinctive way of saying, I don't understand this, but I'm here anyway. And maybe that's what survival really is. Not conquering the pain, not escaping it, but sitting with it and still finding a reason to laugh. Because laughter doesn't mean you don't care, it means you've accepted that caring too much will crush you. You can't control the chaos, but you can find rhythm in it. You can make it bearable. That's what people misunderstand. It's not about being funny, it's about being alive enough to see the irony. We all wear masks, right? At work, with family, online, we curate who we are, but laughter breaks that mask. It's unfiltered. When you laugh, the truth of you leaks out. That's why people fall in love laughing. It's the one moment you're not performing, you're not guarded, you're just present. And isn't that what we're all really chasing? To feel present, to forget the noise for a second, and just be. That's what laughter gives us, a little taste of being real in a world where everything else feels fake. It's wild to think about how much we rely on humor to get through things. You lose your job, you get dumped, your plans fall apart, and after the initial pain, what do? You start finding the ridiculous parts, you make a joke about it. You tell your friends how bad it was, and everyone laughs. That doesn't mean it didn't hurt, it means you're surviving it. You're turning suffering into something shareable, into something lighter. That's what makes it human. And sometimes laughter isn't even about finding joy, it's about finding balance. It's the counterweight to fear. The world's always going to throw you things you can't control: loss, failure, confusion, endings, and laughter is how we stop those things from swallowing us whole. It's like saying, you can take everything from me, but you can't take this. Because no matter how dark it gets, there's always something absurd hiding in it. Always some tiny reason to laugh. That's why laughter is so intimate, so sacred. It's the closest thing we have to a shared heartbeat. When people laugh together, for a second, they're synchronized. They forget their differences, their worries, their roles. They just exist. And that's what we're all looking for, those rare, fleeting moments when existence feels lighter, when we stop asking why and just feel what's in front of us. We laugh because it's the only thing that makes sense in a world that doesn't. Because if we didn't, we'd have to face how fragile everything really is, how easily it can all disappear. Laughter is how we remind ourselves that we're still here, still breathing, still capable of finding light, even in the darkness. It's not a denial of reality, it's defiance. It's a quiet act of rebellion that says, you can't take this from me. Because sometimes surviving doesn't mean fighting or fixing anything. Sometimes it just means laughing at the madness, looking at the absurdity of it all, and choosing to keep going anyway. It's funny how the saddest truths are usually the ones we laugh about the hardest. You notice that? The moments that really get people laughing, those deep from the stomach laughs, they usually come from something painful, something uncomfortable, something we'd rather not say out loud. That's the thing about humor. It's not just about making people laugh. It's about letting them breathe. It's a release valve for the pressure we all carry around. Because underneath the punchline, there's always something real, something raw, something that hurts just a little too much to admit directly. You ever notice how when someone tells a joke about heartbreak or loneliness or being a failure, people don't just laugh, they recognize it? You can hear it in the room, that little pause before the laughter starts. That's not just comedy, that's truth sneaking out. Because deep down, everybody gets it. Everybody's been there. Everyone's felt that pit in their stomach, that quiet panic at 3 a.m. when you realize you're not exactly where you thought you'd be. We don't talk about those moments in daylight, we joke about them instead. That's how we survive them. It's a weird thing, the way pain becomes fuel for laughter. Think about the funniest people you've ever met. They're never the ones who've had it easy. They're the ones who've been through something, the ones who've learned to turn their scars into stories. That's why the best humor doesn't come from cruelty or mockery. It comes from honesty, from saying the thing everyone's afraid to say and saying it out loud with a smile. It's not that the pain disappears, it just becomes something we can hold without it crushing us. Because when we laugh at it, even for a moment, it loses its power. And maybe that's the strange genius of it. The way we take tragedy and repackage it as entertainment, like we're saying to the universe, you tried to break me, but I got a bit out of it. It's like we're recycling pain into connection. Every time someone laughs at a story about heartbreak or failure, what they're really saying is, yeah, me too. That's the part people miss about humor. It's not just escape, it's empathy. It's this secret handshake between people who've been through the same invisible wars. When you think about it, most of what we call humor is just confession with better timing. We don't always have the words to describe how heavy life feels, so we wrap it in a joke. That way, we can finally say it out loud without falling apart. Because once you've said it, once you've laughed about it, it's not this big, shadowy thing anymore. It's just another story, another piece of life that you've managed to make smaller, more human, less terrifying. And maybe that's what's so special about it. It's not about pretending things are okay. It's about admitting that they're not and somehow finding beauty in that. You can't really laugh about something until you've faced it. So when people laugh, it's not denial, it's victory. It means they made it to the other side of something. You lose someone you love, you fail miserably at something, you go through hell, and one day you tell the story and people laugh. Not because they're cruel, but because it's proof you're still here, that you didn't drown in it, that you found a way to turn pain into perspective. You ever think about how life has this way of humbling everyone eventually? Nobody gets out clean, everyone breaks a little, everyone gets their turn being the joke. And that's okay, because that's where the truth lives, in those messy, ridiculous, heartbreaking parts of being human. That's where the best stories are. Nobody wants to hear about perfection, it's boring. They want the awkwardness, the screw-ups, the humiliations, the honesty. That's where the connection is. That's where the laughter comes from. It's strange, isn't it, how we're wired to hide what hurts the most? We put on these masks every day, smile when we're falling apart, say I'm fine when we're not, and yet, the moment someone cracks a joke about the exact thing we're hiding, we burst out laughing. Because finally, someone said it, someone told the truth. And for a few seconds, we don't have to pretend anymore. We can laugh, and it feels good, because it's real. That's what humor does. It tells the truth in a way that doesn't scare people off. It sneaks honesty into the conversation, like a friend who knows how to make you laugh about your own pain. Sometimes the funniest moments come right after the worst ones. Like those times when everything goes wrong, you're broke, you're heartbroken, you're lost, and something ridiculous happens, and you just start laughing. You can't even stop yourself. It's not that the pain's gone, it's just that for a second, you see how absurd it all is, how fragile, how random, how unpredictable life can be. That laugh is a kind of surrender. It's you saying, all right, universe, I see what you're doing here. It's not defeat, it's acceptance, with a grin. There's a kind of beauty in that, how laughter becomes the bridge between despair and hope. When you can laugh at your pain, you're not just surviving it, you're transforming it. You're taking something ugly and making it human again, and that's powerful. Because we all carry something heavy. Grief, guilt, regret, disappointment, and humor gives us a way to set it down, even if just for a minute. It reminds us that no matter how dark it gets, there's still light somewhere inside us, still something worth sharing. It's also the most honest way we tell each other, you're not alone. Think about it when you laugh with someone about something painful. It's like saying, I get it. I've been there too. There's no pretense, no ego, no defense, just two humans acknowledging how hard this whole thing is and choosing to laugh anyway. That's real connection. That's what keeps us going. And maybe that's the truth behind the punchline, the tragic truth that hides beneath every joke. We laugh not because things are funny, but because we recognize ourselves in them. Because the joke isn't really about someone else, it's about all of us. Our flaws, our fears, our quiet little struggles. Every time we laugh, we're admitting that we're just as lost, just as foolish, just as breakable as everyone else. And instead of letting that destroy us, we make it funny. We turn it into something we can share. That's what makes humor sacred in a way. It's the art of turning suffering into understanding, of finding the humanity in all the things that hurt too much to face directly. When you strip away the performance, the punchline, the timing, what's left is just truth, raw, uncomfortable, hilarious truth, the kind that hurts and heals at the same time. And when you think about it, that's all we really want to feel seen, to know that our pain isn't just ours, that someone else gets it, that someone else has stood in the same darkness and found a way to laugh. That's why people say laughter is medicine. It doesn't cure the wound, but it reminds you that you're not bleeding alone. So when you hear a joke that cuts a little too close, don't flinch. That sting you feel, that's recognition. That's the sound of truth knocking. And when you laugh, you're not just reacting, you're releasing, you're letting go of the weight you've been carrying, even if just for a moment. And maybe that's the most honest thing any of us can do in a world that doesn't make sense. Tell the truth, laugh at the pain, and keep going anyway. Because at the end of the day, the punchline isn't there to hide the pain. It's there to remind us that we're still alive enough to laugh about it. ChatGPT said, you ever think about how strange it is that we live in the most comfortable time in human history and yet everyone's miserable? We've got every convenience imaginable. Food shows up at your door with a tap, Your car tells you where to go. Your phone finishes your sentences for you. You can literally ask a small glowing rectangle any question about the universe, and it answers in seconds. You'd think that would make us happy. You'd think having everything within reach would bring peace, or at least satisfaction, but instead, it's like the more comfort we build, the emptier we feel. It's like we're padding the walls of our own existential prison with luxury. We laugh about it, of course. We make jokes about being addicted to our screens, about needing likes to survive, about how we can't go 10 seconds without checking notifications. But deep down, it's not really funny, it's just true. The irony is that the more connected we get, the lonelier we become. We've replaced silence with noise, reflection with distraction, and meaning with content. Every second of the day, we're being entertained, informed, updated, overstimulated. We've built an entire world designed to make sure we never have to sit quietly with our own thoughts. And that's because silence is terrifying. Because in silence, the truth starts whispering. And the truth is, we don't really know what we're doing here. That's the dread we're all avoiding. The big empty space that sits underneath everything. And instead of facing it, we scroll past it. We drown it in playlists, TV shows, shopping carts, memes, arguments about things that don't matter. We call it keeping up or staying busy, but what we're really doing is running from the thought that maybe this whole thing doesn't have a point. And maybe that's okay. Maybe the problem isn't that life has no meaning, it's that we were promised one. We were told it was supposed to all add up, that happiness was this thing you could achieve if you just worked hard enough, or bought the right thing, or found the right person. But nobody told us the truth. Happiness isn't permanent, it's a visitor. It comes and goes like weather, and yet we chase it like it's a destination. It's kind of funny when you step back and look at it. We're all running on this treadmill of self-improvement, trying to upgrade ourselves into oblivion. We meditate, we journal, we buy plants, we do yoga, we download apps to remind us to breathe. Imagine that we have to be reminded to breathe. The most natural thing in the world, and we need a push notification for it. That's how far gone we are. We're so obsessed with being present that we've turned mindfulness into a productivity hack. We've turned spirituality into a business model. We want enlightenment, but only if it fits into our schedule and ships in 2 days with free returns. And yet, under all that irony, there's something deeply human about it. We're trying. We're trying so hard to fill the space, to make the chaos feel like it has structure. And that's where the laughter comes in. Because when you really start to see how absurd it all is, you can't help but laugh. Not in a mean way, in a kind of loving, exhausted way. Like, of course we're lost. How could we not be? We're the only creatures on the planet cursed with the awareness of our own mortality, and we're trying to handle that with brunch and Wi-Fi? It's a strange paradox. We have everything we need to survive, but not enough to feel alive. So we pretend. We post pictures of the good moments, we curate happiness, we share quotes about gratitude while secretly wondering why it's so hard to feel grateful. We tell each other to live in the moment, but the moment feels too real, so we reach for our phones again. And that's not even a judgment, it's just the reality of being human right now. We laugh at our dysfunction because we recognize it in each other. It's a shared confession disguised as comedy. I'm lost too, we say through laughter, but at least we can be lost together. What's crazy is that even though we know all this, how artificial, how repetitive, how meaningless some of it feels, we keep doing it. Because what's the alternative? To stop? To stare into the silence and face the void head on? No one wants that. No one wants to feel that heavy truth sitting on their chest. So we keep the music playing, keep the lights on, keep pretending there's a grand reason behind it all. Because the moment we stop pretending, we're naked, we're small, we're fragile. And that's a hard thing to admit in a world where everyone's trying to look strong, happy, productive, successful. But here's the thing, the minute we admit it, the minute we say, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing either, something amazing happens. The dread loses a little of its power. The pressure melts. You realize you're not the only one trying to figure out how to exist without losing your mind. And suddenly, laughter becomes this bridge. You can look at another person, both of you knowing that you're a mess, and laugh. That laugh is connection. That's the moment you're not pretending anymore. The paradox of modern happiness is that the harder we chase it, the further it gets. Because happiness isn't something you hold, it's something that slips through your fingers the moment you try to grip it. The happiest moments are the unplanned ones, the times When you forget to